Hello and welcome to another Walking Talking Mark. This is Further Maths, June 2015, and this is paper 2, which means we are allowed to use a calculator. And if I remember correctly, I think the calculator paper is longer. Is that right? Yeah, so paper 1 is an hour and a half, but paper 2 is 2 hours. And I think it's also worth more. I think... let me see, I think this is out of 105, yeah, and paper 1 is out of 70, so the second paper is kind of more, not more important, but it is worth more. Okay, so, let's start. So number 1, it's not quite focused properly. A circle centre 0, 0 has circumference 12 pi. Work out the equation of the circle. Circumference. Circumference equals pi times diameter. So that must mean the diameter is 12. Okay, which means the radius is 6. And the centre is 0, 0. So just as a reminder, the equation of a circle is in this format. Like that, where AB is the centre of the circle and R is obviously the radius. So because this has centre 0, 0, it's going to be x minus 0 squared, which is just x squared. Y minus 0 squared equals the radius squared, so 6 squared or 36. So that would be the answer. I can't remember whether they ever ask you about circles where the centre isn't 0, 0. I don't think they do on normal maths. I'm not sure about further maths. I think they do, actually. Okay, ratio. A to B to C is 5 to 3 to 2. Work out 4A minus C to 3B. Interesting. So I'm thinking I just do 4 times 5, take away 2, okay, 4A, take away C to 3B. For some reason, I feel that must be wrong. I was right. I don't know why, I just feel like that must be a trick question. That seemed too easy. Interestingly, in the mark scheme, it says you're allowed to write 1 to 2, even though that's, completely wrong technically. But they'll still give you 4 marks. Number 3. The distance between the points that and that is 30 units. Work out 2 possible values of p. Okay, let's do a little sketch. So I've got 2, 5p, and 2, so it's directly above or below, 2 minus 10. It could also be above it. We don't know if 5p is above or below minus 10, so I'll draw both. And the distance is 30. So it's either 30 above it, in which case that would have to be 20, which means 5p equals 20, which means p is 4. Or that could be 30 units below, in which case that would have to be minus 40. So 5p equals minus 40, and p would be minus 8. So those are the two values of p. Number 4. The first term of a sequence is 1 minus a. The term-to-term rule of the sequence is add 2a, then multiply by 3. Okay. Show that the second term is 3 plus 3a. So I take the original, then I add 2a, then I multiply the answer by 3. Okay, so let's simplify that a bit. So 1 minus a plus 2a, that's the same as just 1 plus a times 3, which is 3 plus 3a. The third term is 16, work out the value of a. Okay, so the second term is 3 plus 3a. So to get the third term, I would have to add 2a, then multiply by 3. So let me write the third term equals, A3 is like how you write the third term. Okay, so that's going to make 3 plus 5a times 3, which is 9 plus 15a, and apparently that equals 16. So I'll take away 9, and then I will divide by 15. So that's the value of A. A straight line L is parallel to the straight line y equals 1 minus 2x. Okay, so that tells us straight away that the gradient is going to be minus 2 because it's parallel to that. And it passes through 3 minus 1. On the grid below, draw the straight line L. Okay, it passes through 3 minus 1, so let's plot 3 minus 1, which is there. The gradient is minus 2, so I'm just going to do, for every one step to the right, it has to go down by 2. So if I was going to do that backwards, every step to the left, it would have to go up by 2. So one step to the left, up by 2. So that would be there. Because one step to the left is actually 2 squares, because of the way the scale's drawn. So one step to the left, up by 2. Okay, so it's going to be like that. There we go. Oh, that's 4 marks. That's not bad. Number 6. Write this thing in the form of that where a and n are integers. Okay, so I need to cancel some powers. Okay, let's start by dividing everything by 3. How about that? Okay, now let's simplify the powers. So I'm going to cancel x squared, which means I have to take 2 off that one and 2 off that one. So I get 5x to the 6 minus 6x to the 5. And is it in that form? A, N, N. Yeah, perfect. Right, I've got an equation. Work out the rate of change of y with respect to x when x is minus 1. Rate of change is just a fancy way of saying dy by dx, or gradient, or derivative, or there's loads of words that mean the same thing. So I'm going to differentiate. So dy by dx equals, I'm going to times by the power, so that's 12 over 3, which is 4, and lower the power by 1. Times by the power, so that's 24, lower the power by 1, so that's 2. And we want it when x is minus 1, so I'm going to sub x is minus 1 into that. So that's minus 4 minus 24, which is minus 28. I'm just going to check the examiner's comments on that. Yeah, I had a feeling. It says, many students did not know that the rate of change of y with respect to x is dy by dx. Okay, so I have a feeling they're going to purposefully use this kind of weird language in the exam to kind of trick you. Well, it's not to trick you, it's to test that you've been taught it properly. Okay? So you need to know that rate of change or derivative or gradient function or anything like that means dy by dx. Interestingly, it says, a very common error was to work out the value of y when x is minus 1. You don't need to work out the value of y. It doesn't tell you to, but I suppose if you do the questions in the textbook, it always made you work out the value of y as well, as like an extra part. So maybe people are just in the habit. Number 8. F of x equals x to the 4. The domain of f of x is x is greater than or equal to 2. Work out the range of f of x. Okay, so remember that domain means the values of x that are allowed, so the values of the input that are allowed. And the range means the values of the output that are possible. So if you're going to put in everything that's bigger than 2, so for example, if we put 2 into that, we're going to get 16, because 2 to the power 4 is 16. So the smallest possible answer we're going to be able to get is 16. But if we put in anything bigger than 2, we're going to get something bigger. And actually, there's no limit then. We can get any number in the world. So the range of f of x would be that f of x is just going to be bigger than or equal to 16. And then b, g of x is x squared minus 1. The domain is between minus 2 and 3. Work out the range. I'm going to draw a little sketch of this. So from minus 2 to 3 is all that we're allowed. X squared minus 1. So that is a parabola. X squared is positive, so it's a happy parabola. It's smiley face. Minus 1 means that it's been shifted downwards by 1. So it's going to look something like that. I should make it so it actually goes to there. And I even know that these two values here are going to be plus and minus 1, because I can factorize that to make that. Okay, so the range, alright, if x has to be between these, okay, so the range is going to be from, which one's going to be higher? That one's going to be higher, isn't it? The maximum value will be when we put 3 into that. 3 squared take away 1 is going to be 8. So 8 is the maximum value we're going to get. And the minimum value we're going to get will be this here, the minimum point, which, as I said, is going to be minus 1, because the y-intercept here we can see is minus 1, and it's symmetrical. So f of x will be between, and including, minus 1 and 8. So that's the highest possible output, and that's the lowest possible output. You can tell that's the lowest possible output because if you put 0 into that, you're going to get minus 1. If you put a negative number into that, when you square it, it's going to become positive, so it's not actually going to make the answer any smaller. So 0 is going to give you the smallest value, so -1. C. h of x is 5x minus 3. The range is that. Work out the domain. Okay, I'm going to draw a quick sketch. 5x minus 3, so gradient is 5, y-intercept is -3. The range goes from -2 to 1. Okay, so it's going to start here at -2, and it's going to go up to 1, not drawn to scale. Work out the domain. Okay, so I should work out what x value you're going to have to match with 1 and -2. So 5x minus 3 equals 1 would correspond to x being 4/5, and 5x minus 3 equaling -2 would correspond to 1/5. So the x values are going to be between 1/5 and 4/5. And I'm not putting inclusive arrows on because here it doesn't have inclusives, so it's going to match. Number 9, solve this. Okay, so I'm going to expand the bracket. And I'm going to collect the y's together, so I'm going to take away 2y. And I'm going to add 28 to both sides. And I'm going to divide by 10. Solve this. Okay, so I'll start by timesing by 2. Then I will square. And then I will take away 4. Solve this. Interesting. Let's take away 9. And let's divide by 3. So m to the power of 1/5 equals -3. What's m? A power of 5th means like the 5th root. So if I want to undo the 5th root, I have to do the 5th power. So that's going to be -3 to the power of 5. And I have a calculator, so let me work that out. 243. So -243. And it will be minus because you're timesing together 5 negative numbers. So 4 of them will cancel out and there'll be 1 left. Okay. Shout out to Severa, who I know loves this kind of question. The diagram shows a circle, centre C, TP is a tangent, work out the value of T. Okay, we've got a tangent meeting a radius, so I know straight away that that is going to be 90 degrees. So I could work out the gradient of the radius, and then I know that the gradient of the tangent is perpendicular to that. So the gradient of the radius, let's see, rise over step. The rise is 2. And the step is 1. Well, the step is 1 to the left, so I guess I'll put -1. I mean, I can see from the picture that the gradient is -2. And what I mean is negative, because it's going down. So gradient of the radius is -2, therefore the gradient of the tangent is going to be the negative reciprocal of that, which is 1/2. So y equals a half x plus c. And then I can substitute in the point 2, 8 into that because it lies on the line, and that's going to find out what c is. So c is 7. Okay, so now if the x-coordinate is -4, I just need to find out what the matching t-coordinate would be. So I'm going to... t-coordinate? You know what I mean. I'm going to put -4 in there. That's going to give me that, which is going to be 5. So t equals 5. Okay, and that will do for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, and I'll see you there.